When you think of the Crusades, what comes to mind? Probably knights in shining armor, right? Marching off to the Holy Land. But what if I told you that one of the most tragic and honestly, one of the most lasting impacts of this whole holy war happened nowhere near Jerusalem? It happened right in the heart of Europe. So let's dig into that hidden and frankly heartbreaking side of this history.
And that brings us to this central kind of mind-bending question. This was a war for Jerusalem. So how on earth did it kick off with massacres against Jewish communities along Germany's Rhine River? It doesn't seem to add up, does it? But believe me, there's a story here, and we're about to unpack exactly how and why this happened.
All right, so to really get our heads around how this storm of violence just erupted out of nowhere, we've got to rewind the clock. We need to look at the world right before that First Crusade was ever called and see just how dramatically everything was about to change.
Okay, look at this. This slide really lays it all out, the stark difference. On the left, you've got the before 1095. Jewish communities in Europe, they were always a minority, of course, but they were often pretty integrated. They were living right alongside their Christian neighbors, and they had a protected status. It wasn't always perfect, but there was a sense of coexistence. And then, look at the right, the after. That whole world was just shattered by the Crusades. It was replaced by segregated ghettos, official state-sponsored persecution, and just systemic violence. This is the massive, devastating transformation we're talking about today.
So where does it all begin? It starts right here. 1095, the Council of Clermont. Imagine Pope Urban II getting up and delivering a sermon with just unimaginable power. He's calling on the Knights of Christendom to take up the cross. His goal? Super clear: liberate Jerusalem. And in doing so, he basically lit a match and started a fire of religious passion that would just sweep across the entire continent.
But here's the thing about that fire, that religious fervor. It didn't just point east towards Jerusalem. Almost right away, it found a target much, much closer to home, and it unleashed a fury that absolutely no one saw coming, especially not the Jewish communities of Europe.
This is where we see this really crucial and incredibly deadly shift in thinking. For some of the more radical preachers and their followers, the logic got twisted. They started asking, why should we travel thousands of miles to fight the enemies of Christ way over there when we have infidels, their word for the Jews, living right next door? Suddenly, the very definition of who the enemy was, it dangerously expanded to include their own neighbors.
And this is the horrifying result. We're in the spring of 1096. Mobs of what historians call the People's Crusade. These were often poor, disorganized groups, totally separate from the main armies of knights. They just descended on these thriving Jewish communities in the Rhineland. And look at this timeline. It shows just how terrifyingly fast the violence spread. It starts in Speyer. Then just a couple of weeks later, Worms is attacked. And by the end of May, the huge ancient community in Mans is absolutely devastated.
And I really want you to understand this isn't just dry history from a textbook. These are the words of a survivor, a chronicler named Solomon Bar Simpson. He wrote, "They came, took their swords in hand, and killed, sparing not a single soul." Can you just feel the horror in those words? This wasn't a battle, it was a massacre. Men, women, children. They were given this brutal, impossible choice: convert to Christianity on the spot or die.
But the thing is, the tragedy of 1096, as horrible as it wasn't a one-time thing. Not even close. As we're about to see, it was just the beginning of a terrifying new pattern, one that would repeat itself for centuries. And just like that, a really vicious cycle was set in motion. It would start with the Pope calling for a new crusade. That call would whip up this intense religious passion among the people. But then, all too often, that incredible energy was redirected. It got turned inward, targeting local Jewish communities as infidels at home. And from there, it would just explode into violence, extortion, and forced conversions, over and over again.
And that right there is the crucial takeaway. This wasn't some weird fluke of the First Crusade. The Second Crusade, the Third, they all saw repeats of this exact same kind of violence in places like France and England. What happened in 1096 created this terrible, deadly precedent. For some people, attacking Jews became an unofficial, bloody warm-up act before they even started marching east.
So, okay, what did all this mean for the future? Well, this new reality of persecution didn't just fade away. It fundamentally and permanently changed the very fabric of Jewish life in Europe.
The long-term changes were just profound. Remember those integrated communities we talked about? Gone. They were dismantled. Jews were often forced into walled-off ghettos. Then the authorities stepped in. They barred them from owning land. They barred them from joining most professional guilds. So think about it. That systematically closes off almost every way to make a living. It forced many into one of the only roles left open to them, moneylending. And that in turn fueled this new poisonous stereotype of greed that would haunt them for centuries to come.
And with all this new hostility came new, poisonous myths. And the blood libel is one of the absolute worst. This was a completely fabricated, totally insane story that Jews were kidnapping and murdering Christian children to use their blood in religious rituals. It first popped up in England in the 12th century, right in the middle of the Crusading era. And this single, horrific lie was used to justify countless acts of violence for hundreds of years.
And that brings us to our final point. Because this isn't just something that happened in the Middle Ages and stayed there. The attitudes, the violence, the myths born in the crucible of the Crusades, they cast an incredibly long and dark shadow through history.
So, why does any of this matter today? It matters because the social structures, like the ghetto, the economic restrictions, and those hateful myths, like the blood libel, they didn't just vanish when the Crusades ended. No, they evolved. They became deeply embedded in European culture, and they created the very bedrock for the modern racial anti-Semitism that would emerge centuries later with absolutely catastrophic consequences.
Yeah, the Crusades themselves ended centuries and centuries ago, but their unforeseen consequences, all the hatred they unleashed back home, created these deep, lasting fractures in European society. And so it leaves us with this question, right? How do the echoes of a war fought 900 years ago still manage to reverberate in our world today?